All right, good evening and welcome to Breaking Today. My name is Frederick Muitiriri, believing that you had a good day. Welcome to Breaking Today. My sign language interpreter tonight is Teresia Washira, but first, these are the highlights. Striking health workers demonstrate to Senate buildings and vow to continue with their strike until their demands are met. More than 1,000 cases of domestic violence have officially been reported to one of Kenya's leading GBV centers during the COVID-19 period. Preparations are complete for Msambweni parliamentary by-election that will be conducted tomorrow. All right, welcome to the broadcast. I'm asking you this question before we start our bulletin. Do you think the government will meet the striking health workers' demands? Do you think the government will meet the demands by health workers? Send us your SMS on 111 444 111 or comment on our Facebook page or YouTube channel, that is Switch TV News. We are live on Facebook, Twitter and on YouTube. We start with Msambweni, where the parliamentary by-elections are expected to be conducted tomorrow, with the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC confirming its preparedness in conducting the elections. Among the candidates campaigning for the seat include Oman Boga of ODM Party, Faisal Berda and Charles Bilali, who are independent candidates, among others. The Msambweni parliamentary seat fell vacant after the death of area member of parliament Suleiman Dori in March of this year. Daniel Kariuki reports.
The heavily contested Msambweni by-elections are scheduled to begin tomorrow morning, barely a week after President Uhuru Kenyatta met with one of the candidates, Omar Boga, with IEBC officials claiming the 129 polling stations spread in the 4 assembly wards of Ramisi, Kinondo, Ukunda, Bongwe have enough polling agents, clerks and observers.
Hii wiki moja ambayo imepita, sajili yote imeweza kuchapishwa na kuwekwa kwenye vituo. Kwa hivyo umma imeenda ikadhibitisha kwamba, ama raia wameenda wakadhibitisha kwamba wao ni wapiga kura katika vituo hivyo. Kwa hivyo sidhani kama tutakuwa na visa ambapo mtu anaenda kwenye kituo hapati jina yake, kwa sababu in the news operations tunahakikisha kwamba the register is printed 1 week before na tumezipost kwenye polling stations zote.
According to the returning officer, the polling stations will remain open until 5 p.m. when the counting is scheduled to end. Further adding that voting will continue after 5 p.m. in case voters would still be waiting in the queue. Tight security would also be deployed in each polling station to ensure there are no disruptions to the by-election, with strict COVID-19 measures also put in place to help curb the spread of COVID-19.
Atashughulika na swala la watu kuhakikisha kwamba watu wamenawa mikono. Tutakuwa na sanitizers in all our polling stations. The polling stations have also been fumigated. Tukienda kule, all stations have been fumigated.
The ruling party Jubilee, however, failed to field a candidate in the race, a move mostly linked to the Uhuru-Raila union. Although Jubilee will not be presenting any candidate in the race, the group allied to DP Ruto has identified Faisal Berda, who will run as an independent candidate. The Msambweni parliamentary seat fell vacant after the death of area MP Suleiman Dori in March. Daniel Gariki reporting for Switch TV.
Now, Kenya has sent a delegation to Somalia after weeks of tension between the two countries over border intrusion. The delegation, that is being led by Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i, is meeting President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo of Somalia through a committee that was constituted on Thursday by the two presidents to iron out the simmering differences between the two nations. Last week, a fight broke between Somali troops and Jubaland forces near the Kenya-Somalia border, forcing Mandera residents to flee. Meanwhile, back in Kenya, President Uhuru Kenyatta has today held bilateral talks with Somaliland President Musa Bihi Abdi. Several agreements have been discussed and will be finalized tomorrow. Musa is in the country for a 3-day visit. With a population of more than 3.5 million people, Somaliland functions as an independent country, complete with its own government, currency and military, even though it has remained unrecognized by the international community for over 20 years and is considered as part of the greater Somalia.
Welcome. Please.
Meanwhile, President Uhuru Kenyatta has sent a message of condolence to President Mswati III of the people of Eswatini following the death of country's Prime Minister Ambrose Mandulvo Dlamini. The 52-year-old Prime Minister died while undergoing treatment in a South African hospital. In his message of encouragement to comfort King Mswati, President Uhuru Kenyatta has said Kenya stands with the people of Eswatini as they mourn their departed leader, noting that the Prime Minister was an industrious and devoted leader who was committed to improving the well-being of his fellow countrymen. Now, back to the country. Now, the nurses and clinical officers strike entering its 8th day. The Vice Chairperson of the Health Committee, Joshua Kutunyi, has said the government is working to deliver on the medics' grievances within 14 days, with more PPE set to be released to the hospitals and some to the public if need be. Distribution of surgical masks to the public together with the rollout of medical covers.
We met resolutions that was adopted by the National Assembly that gave time frame. Now, last week the government said that we are going to release the personal protective equipment, 150,000, which are supposed to be released this week, end of this week, that will go to these hospitals. Two, we also passed a resolution that those protective equipments should be given to the public for free. If it is face mask in the hospital, they should be given for free. Again, we've agreed, and the Treasury have agreed that this week, by end of this week, 7 days, from Thursday last week, end of this week, which is on Thursday, they should have released 560 million that is now going to provide cover for these medical doctors and the nurses and the medical officers, clinical officers. So we have really made progress from when we started, when there were no bridge towards sorting out this issue, up to today when we have a way forward. We've also agreed that the government is going to extend a contract, because you remember they were hired for 90 days. Now it's going to be an extension for a year, and they are going to be given allowances. So we are making progress. We are addressing the issues that they have raised. The ministry have made commitment saying that we must ensure that the call allowances for the doctors in the Ministry of Health, in the universities, they are paid. And the money is there. So within 14 days, we'd expect all these issues that had been raised by KMPDU to have been sorted. So as we are talking now, I'm told many doctors have received their salaries. So, and the 3 months salary that I had delayed. So we are making some good progress. And I will tell Kenyans that yes, we understand that there is a crisis. PTU, they've risen to the occasion and listened to the National Assembly. They had to extend the strike for another 2 weeks because of our intervention. I want to appeal to the ministry and all government agencies that were mentioned in the resolution of Parliament that you meet your deadline so that we don't have a prolonged strike, or maybe we don't have a strike anytime sooner.
Now, the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers has today staged a demonstration outside Afya House in an effort to have their grievances addressed. The union has vowed to continue with the nationwide strike until their demands are met. So far, 9 clinicians and 13 doctors have succumbed to the virus, while the number of nurses who have died reached 29 after one more died in Trans Nzoia on Friday. Meanwhile, Kenya has registered 6 deaths from COVID-19, while 163 people have contracted the virus from a sample size of 2,283, representing a positivity rate of 7.1%. I'll be bringing you that story in a short while. Meanwhile, the Deputy President, Legal Advisor Korir Sing'oei, has expressed his sentiments on the militarization of the counties months after State House appointed Major General Mohammed Badi to take over Nairobi County, overshadowing the now impeached Governor Mike Sonko. Sing'oei has stated that if elected, Ruto's government will adhere to a constitution that only allows civilian occupation of county offices.
Our constitution is very clear that we run as a civilian government, that it is a government that is accountable to the Kenyan people at every stage. And so one must look at any effort to have the military play a significant governance role. One must look at those efforts with a fair measure of skepticism and with a lot of anxiety. And so I think a William Ruto presidency will really want to keep the military in the barracks, doing the great job that they do, defending our borders, defending our sovereignty, and instead allow the institutions that have been created by the Constitution, to play their rightful role.
Now back to the story I told you earlier, where Kenya Union of Clinical Officers has today staged a demonstration outside Afya House in an effort to have their grievances addressed. The union has vowed to continue with the nationwide strike until their demands are met. So far, 9 clinicians and 13 doctors have succumbed to the virus, while the number of nurses who have died reached 29 after one more died in Trans Nzoia County on Friday. Meanwhile, Kenya has registered 6 deaths from COVID-19, while 163 people have contracted the virus from a sample size of 2,283, representing a positivity rate of 7.1%. Majibu Kitsao with the details.
Speaking earlier today, the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers has promised to continue with the strike, claiming that the government has not played its part in addressing their grievances.
We presented our petition more than 2 weeks ago to Parliament. They have not seen a need to call us.
And we are here to speak to the leadership to ensure that they can be able to understand the issues that is affecting healthcare workers.
The union had earlier voiced out several demands, among which include adequate PPEs and health insurance covers to all healthcare workers.
We are working under a very difficult environment, and we have been saying this since March. Number one, we are not given the right PPE.
The union demonstrated these issues outside Afya House before moving to the Senate buildings, where Nandi Senator Simon Cherargei and nominated Senator Isaac Mwaura joined them and assured them of their full support.
Na sisi kama Senate hatutakubali kuona mkiteshwa ovyo ovyo. Ama namna gani? Kwa sababu tunajua kwamba mambo ya afya imegatuliwa. Na ni jukumu yetu sisi kama watu wa senators kuhakikisha mmepata haki yenu.
The issues you have raised will receive the necessary attention. Jumatatu tuko na special sitting kwa mambo mengine, lakini nataka niwahakikishie myself, I will ensure I bring it to the attention of our speaker so that it directs immediate action. Because we are on a recess, the health committee to start immediate by summoning the CS in charge of health to tell the country what is happening.
Cherargei has called upon the government to address the issue of health workers before engaging Kenyans on matters BBI.
There are things that are urgent but not important, like BBI. There are things that are urgent but important, like health crisis.
This is not the first time medics are complaining of being neglected by the government, and they have maintained that the strike will go on until their grievances are addressed comprehensively. The healthcare workers are lamenting Kenyans in the healthcare facilities are also decrying lack of services. All eyes are now directed to the government to look into this matter, which if not solved in due time may result in more serious consequences. Majibu Kitsao for Switch TV.
Many thanks, Majibu Kitsao. Now, earlier on, I asked you, do you think the government will meet the striking health workers' demand? Do you think the government will meet their demands? Send us your SMSs on 111 444 111, or comment on our Facebook page or YouTube channel, Switch TV News. We are live on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube. From that story, we take a quick break. We'll be back with more in a short while. And welcome back to Breaking Today. My name is Frederick Muitiriri. Some of the SMSs that are coming through. Rashford Kerema, unisalimie. I'm watching from Nakuru. Bahati Mailitisa Ahero. Many thanks. Koiga Koi, all the way from Nyeri County. Thank you. Ernest Mananga, you're saying you're tuned in. Asante sana. Kefa Bosire, asante. Yobra Yibri, you're saying kama kawaida nikiwakilisha chama changu. Western Ingo, Tiriki Vihiga County, Hamisi Sub-County. I'm watching. Many thanks. Now, moving on, Narok County. Commissioner Evans Achoki has rolled out the distribution exercise of Huduma number cards in the county after the county received the first batch of 329 cards. The county commissioner said the cards will be arriving in phases according to the order the residents registered and will be handed over to the deputy county commissioners, who in turn will put the names of all the people whose cards had arrived on the notice board. Hadia Masiwa with the story.
Narok Deputy County Commissioner, through the Assistant County Commissioner's Office, will be required to hand over the Huduma cards to the chiefs, who will distribute them to individuals in the area of jurisdiction. Speaking at his office while handing over the cards to the first beneficiaries in the county commissioner has asked those with acknowledgement slips to carry them around for easy identifications, but confirmed that those who have misplaced the slip will still get the card.
Leo tumepokea kadi 339 na tutapeana kwa Deputy County Commissioners ambaye watakuwa wanapeana hizi cards kwa wenyewe. Kwa hivyo tutakuwa tukizipata in phases. Tutakuwa tumeweka ile list ya the number of cards received kwa notice board ya Deputy County Commissioners. Kwa hivyo wewe ukiwa unataka kuona kama kadi yako imefika, utaenda kwa notice board ya the 6 deputy county commissioners in Narok County, uangalie kwa notice board. Ukiona kadi yako imefika, basi utaingia kwa deputy county commissioner, utapata yule officer ambaye anapeana these cards.
The card captures data on personal details on the National Security Fund, National Health Insurance Fund, Kenya Revenue Authority, and individuals' biodata. The new system is expected to manage and control illegal immigrants and foreigners engaged in criminal activities such as terrorism, drugs, and fraud. It is also meant to facilitate national planning and efficient provision of services to various government organs, as it will reduce the burden of carrying several cards. Hadia Mwasiwa, reporting for Switch TV.
As the country fights COVID-19, gender-based violence cases have increased among many communities in Kenya. Wangu Kanju Foundation, whose mandate is to protect and provide shelters for both boys and girls in the community, has said more than 1,000 cases have been reported to the foundation in the last 7 months. Maluse Meshak with a story.
Wangu Kanju, the founder of Wangu Kanju Foundation, after passing through a road accident and raped, the victim was forced to start the organization aiming to help young people who have passed through the violation to come out and say no to gender-based violence.
Sexual Violence in Kenya Network, and we work towards prevention, protection and response in regards to sexual violence.
At least 79.1% of women in the country and 20.9% of men in the year 2019 and 2020 have either been sexually harassed or raped. Wangu Kanju has a clear mind on coming up with a strategic solution to end this retrogressive act.
We have seen an increase of cases going up, and especially when it comes to violence against men and boys. In the past, men have not come out in big numbers to report, but currently men and boys are actually reporting cases.
Wangu admits that the greatest challenge is on how the victim will be helped from the community, since the crime is either done by the people that are close to them. Dealing with them might take a long period of time to handle.
We've seen majority of the perpetrators being relatives, stepfathers, neighbors, and we actually bringing this to the community so that if they know of anyone who's actually committing such crimes, they are able to call that person out or hold that person accountable.
Furthermore, she says that giving adolescent girls advice, for instance those who are impregnated, is a difficult task that they undergo while handling such a violence in the communities.
Hivyo vitatu tuliona ya kwamba wanaume sana sana walipendelea kutuma mijumbe kwa sababu wanaogopa ile kujitokeza, kwa sababu unajua unyanyapaa, yani ile wanaita stigma imekita mizizi kwenye jamii mbalimbali. Kwa hivyo wanaume si rahisi ajitokeze moja kwa moja ama ana kwa ana.
The foundation, being a charity-based organization, depends on people of goodwill. The foundation is working with other organizations such as Advocates for Social Change in Kenya, led by Philip Otieno, who say that men are afraid of disclosing violation meted on them, adding that most of them have been reporting their cases through an SMS number in the organization. Gender-based violence is a critical issue in our country. That's why such organizations like Wangu Kanchu has come up to intervene the situation in the country. Mwaluse Meshak, Switch TV, Nairobi.
And on to business news. 2019, the year the national carrier Kenya Airways implemented its recovery plan with route expansion and additional frequencies. Numerous investment partnerships, for example, Delta Airline gave KQ access to 11 cities in the US after a year of direct flights to New York. The company is now gunning on expanding the cargo business to boost its earnings.
Thinking about diversifying, of course, the cargo business has been there, but we are now growing it. One of the things that is happening today is that we are now customizing one of the Dreamliners to put it into cargo. And that should probably be completed sometimes before the end.
Elsewhere, leaders and hoteliers in Kilifi County have assured tourists visiting the coastal region of their health safety. They said all hotels and restaurants in the region that will be open during the festive season had been inspected and found to have adhered to the Ministry of Health protocols and guidelines to prevent the spread of coronavirus.
Most of the hotels, all the hotels that are operating, they have ensured that they are following the right protocols that have been laid down, and we assure our clients of their safety during their stay with us. The domestic market, we are not yet having full projections the way we normally have.
You have to do a COVID test at all your staff. Means that the investors has to pay for the stuff I already done.
Kumefungwa sasa hapa kabisa, kwa international arrivals hatuna kabisa, so kwa hivyo hali ni ngumu, hata ku maintain staff hapa kabisa ni ngumu, sababu mshahara na pesa ya kuwalipa hakuna.
Kwamba baada ya kuzungumza na wadau katika sekta ya kitalii, kuna timu ambazo zimeenda kukagua hoteli hizi, na ile mikakati iliyowekwa na hoteli za kifahari za kitalii hapa Malindi na Kilifi mzima ni kwamba ni mikakati ambayo italinda mtalii yoyote.
Season huwa inaanza mwezi wa 8 mpaka mwezi wa 4. Mwezi wa 4 ndio wazungu wanaenda kwao, wanarudi tena next season kama mwezi wa 8 tena. So sasa huu mwaka huu hii season hakuna sababu.
And as most farmers in the country are crying foul over poor milk markets and fluctuating prices, farmers in Mukurweini, Nyeri County are leaping big from dairy farming due to stable prices. Mukurweini Wakulima Dairy Chairperson Muhika Mutahi has said that they are paying their farmers 35 shillings per litre, unlike other places like Nyandaro, where some farmers have nowhere to sell their daily product.
The 31 liters we started with the first day,
to about 62,000 liters that we are correcting every day. We are correcting the whole production every day, and we are taking it to the market every day. It is the responsibility of now the county, because this function has been devolved. School milk program to assist a daily farmer. I wish county governments could hear our appeal, because these are the same people, the same farmers, the same Wajiko, they call them Wajiko, who are voting for them. When there is glut period, the prices drop, and they don't commensurate the production costs and the selling costs. Production cost becomes more. That is when.
Well, that's it for Business News tonight. It's now time to get sporty with Frederick Mutiriri.
All right, welcome to the sporting section. As an Arsenal fan, not so good, but the English Premier League picked off in the month of September with the league clocking match day 12. Most clubs have registered their share of surprises, performance and disappointing ones too. Kenya has been known for hosting a lot of EPL fans. Our very own Arnold Nderito met some of the fans in regards to this season, and this is what they had to say.
Msimu haijakuwa vizuri vile. You cannot expect Aubameyang to perform akicheza timu mbaya. Angalia saa hii kwa midfield hakuna ambao imetoka hapo. Wenyewe kusema ukweli hakuna midfield amefunga. So hata creativity hakuna. For example kuna red card ilikuanga ya Pep. Hiyo huwezi ukasema ati ni manager alikosa hiyo kitu. Hiyo ni ile inatangwa personal discipline. Kufanya kitu kama hiyo hata wewe huwezi fanya. Kumaliza kwa Arsenal kunategemea na transfer window ya January. Hatuwezi enda relegation, hiyo iko na wenyewe. Usidhani ati Manchester wamekimbia hivi wataenda mbali. Time yao inafika. Usione Arsenal wako mbali. Wako na 13 points number 15. Sasa hii timu yenye inaongoza ni Liverpool. Wapoteze ngao mbili mfululizo wanakuja karibu namba 10. Timu yenye iko namba 15 ishinde ngao mbili mfululizo inaenda karibu kwa namba 8. Sasa unaelewa ile nini iko hapo?
Manchester Dam kabisa. Angalia defense hapo katikati ya Maguire. Hapo kuna shida, huyo jamaa ndio analia sana. Maguire. Hapo katikati.
Now to the sad story of the weekend. Arsenal continued with their poor APL campaign against Burnley in their match day 12 fixture, which witnessed Granit Xhaka sent off at the 58th minute following a red card, after which Arsenal's keeper Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang netted in an own goal.
The Gunners needed a result to restore some faith in the Spaniard's revival project as he approaches his first anniversary in charge. Arsenal had a succession of opportunities after